Welcome to this explainer. Grab a seat, get comfortable, because I am so incredibly glad you're here with me today. Look, I want you to imagine we're just sitting down together, just you and me, and I'm going to act as your personal mentor for the next little while. If you've ever felt like that shy, quiet student, the one hiding in the back of the classroom, just too terrified to speak up in a new language, well, this explainer is designed literally entirely for you. Today, we're going on a bit of a journey. We are going to completely transform you from a fearful, silent observer into a confident, natural speaker. And we're going to do it by cracking open the actual, real-world secrets that polyglots, those people who seem to speak multiple languages flawlessly, use to find their voice. Okay, let's dive right into this. Have you ever asked yourself why your mind just goes totally blank when it's time to speak? It's so frustrating, right? I completely know the pain. You spend years studying these heavy, boring textbooks. You drop money on expensive grammar guides, you sit in endless classrooms, and you memorize these incredibly exhausting lists of vocabulary. And you feel like you've done all the hard work. But the exact moment a native speaker walks up to you and it's time for a real, actual conversation, your heart starts racing, you get sweaty, and suddenly your mind is just a blank white wall. The words just absolutely refuse to come out. Why does this happen? Well, it's because you've been taught to treat language like it's some sort of rigid school exam rather than a living, breathing tool.
So this is exactly where your transformation begins. I want you to think of this like the start of a classic anime-style hero's journey. Right now, you might relate a lot to the silent observer approach. You memorize grammar, you're totally paralyzed by the fear of making a mistake, and you're safely tucked away in your textbooks. And sure, there's no danger there, but there's no growth either. We are going to build you into the confident polyglot. This kind of person is a pragmatic action taker. They learn high-value phrases, they completely drop their ego, and they absolutely dare to speak from day one. They just accept that they're going to sound a little foolish at first. They smile, they learn, and they try again. That right there, that is the exact mindset shift we are aiming for today.
Section 1. Deconstruct to find your voice. Listen, fluency is not some magical, unattainable gift. It's a system. And the very first step of that system is deconstruction.
Now, what's really interesting about this breakdown is how polyglots handle the overwhelm. They take this massive, intimidating mountain of a new language, and they just smash it down into tiny, easily conquerable little pieces. Think about the math for a second. Did you know the average native English speaker knows over 20,000 words? But you only need a tiny fraction of that to actually survive. If you master just the top 1,000 high-value words in English, you are going to understand around 85% of daily, real-world conversation. It's crazy, right? Only a tiny fraction of the language unlocks the vast majority of everyday speech. Normal learners spend months cramming what I call dictionary filler, 50 types of zoo animals, wildly complicated vegetable names, things they will literally never use. Polyglots, they totally ignore the filler and laser focus on this core 85%.
To help you focus on that core, I'm handing you your very first practical tool, the Polyglot Survival List. Honestly, you need to stop trying to memorize thousands of random words today. Instead, write down the simple, high-value sentences you actually need to survive in real life. Things like, I want, I need, can you help me, where is, I am learning English. I want you to take a core list of survival phrases just like these and read them out loud every single morning. Because here's the secret. The student who focuses on high-value phrases is the student who builds confidence and gets out into the real world the absolute fastest.
Once you have your survival list, we need to totally change how your brain actually processes them. Think about the difference between these two approaches. When you use the word method, your brain goes, I go to the market. You're acting like you're frantically searching through a dusty mental filing cabinet for single words and then clumsily gluing them all together. It takes way too much mental energy, and let's be honest, you sound robotic and slow. But a true polyglot, they use the phrase method. They learn the entire block all at once. I am going to the market. You aren't building the sentence from scratch every single time. You're just hitting play on a pre-recorded natural block of speech. Thinking in phrases makes your speaking incredibly smooth and just perfectly natural.
Section 2, the active listening metaphor. Because if thinking in phrases gives you the structure, active listening is what actually gives you the soul of the language. To truly find your voice, you have to step out of the classroom entirely. You need to prepare like a movie star stepping into a character's shoes, and you do this through a really powerful technique called shadowing. Shadowing basically means you take a short audio clip of a native speaker, you listen to just one sentence, you hit pause, and you repeat it out loud exactly as you heard it. You're not just passively reading words off of a page, you are copying the exact emotion, the speed, the tone, and the rhythm. By mirroring the music of the language out loud, you are building deep, actual physical muscle memory in your mouth and your vocal cords. It's a total game changer. But to make all this shadowing practice actually work, you absolutely must adopt a new mindset. You need to stop translating and jump directly into the pool. Imagine someone who desperately wants to learn how to swim. They read 50 books about swimming, they study the fluid dynamics of water, but they absolutely refuse to leave the side of the pool. They stay completely dry. Well, that is exactly what you're doing when you translate everything in your head first. You are staying dry. You have to bypass that translation stage entirely. You must jump directly into the water, open your mouth, and experience the English language directly without using your native language as a safety net.
Section 3. Applying the 20-hour rule. All right, here is your concrete step-by-step roadmap to achieve rapid mastery. Let me hit you with a really, really powerful number, 20. This is the 20-hour rule, and it's the secret metric you actually need to conquer the basics of literally any new skill fast. Look, most people think it takes 10,000 hours to learn a language. And sure, that's true for top-tier, world-class mastery. But to go from a silent, fearful observer to a confident person who can hold their own in a normal, daily conversation, that barrier can absolutely be broken with just 20 hours of focused, targeted practice using the exact methods we're discussing today. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how you break down those 20 hours into highly manageable daily practice sessions. Step 1. Speak out loud to yourself every single day. Just get used to your own voice. Step 2. Shadow native speakers for just 10 minutes to build that physical muscle memory. Step 3. Walk around your room and name everyday objects directly in English to finally kill that translation habit. Step 4. Combine all of these into a consistent 20 to 30-minute block. If you do this daily, I promise you, those 20 hours will fly by and your skills are going to skyrocket.
But hey, as your mentor, I've got to give you a little bit of tough love here. Binge learning, where you suddenly get super motivated and cram for 4 hours on a Sunday and then do absolutely nothing all week, that will completely destroy your progress. It just leads to massive burnout and forgotten neural pathways. You absolutely must choose daily consistency. 20 minutes every single day is what builds deep, unbreakable memory muscles. Remember, language is exactly like building a physical muscle in the gym. If you go in and lift super heavy weights once a week, you're not going to get strong. You'll just be sore. Consistent daily contact is what actually grows the muscle. Consistency will always, always crush intense weekend cramming.
Section 4. Becoming a confident speaker. It's time to trust the process and finally step out into the light.
So the absolutely crucial point is right here. Control your environment. You don't need a crazy expensive plane ticket to London or New York to immerse yourself in the language. No way. You can build an incredibly powerful immersion environment right in your own bedroom. Change the language on your smartphone. Watch your favorite YouTube videos in English instead of your native language. Listen to English podcasts while you're driving to work. Spend just 30 minutes a day actively trying to think only in English. You want to surround yourself so completely with the language that your brain essentially has no choice but to adapt and thrive.
Let's move to how this builds over time, because perspective is everything. Right now, you might be at day 1. You're making mistakes, dropping your ego, and honestly, feeling a little bit foolish. And you know what? That is perfectly fine, because pushing through that leads to month 1, where you actually trust the process and lock in those daily habits, which inevitably leads to month 5, where you're suddenly speaking smoothly and confidently without translating at all. I urge you to have deep, deep patience with yourself here. Please do not compare your clumsy day 1 to someone else's perfectly smooth month 5. Just trust your own timeline. You'll get there.
As we near the end of our time together, I want to leave you with this piece of ultimate wisdom. The exact moment you stop translating is the moment your real fluency begins. Let that sink in for a second. This is the ultimate cognitive shift required to unlock your true potential. When you stop treating the English language like it's some sort of secret code you have to painstakingly decode into your native tongue, and you start using it as a direct way to experience the real world, that is the exact moment you truly become a confident speaker.
And so, my student, we arrive at the final question. The clock is ticking. Time isn't waiting for you to suddenly wake up and feel brave. Knowledge without action is entirely useless. So I am challenging you right now. Which of these habits will you start today? Are you going to write out your survival list? Will you try shadowing for just 10 minutes? It is time to step out of the shadows, drop your ego, and finally claim your voice. You have the blueprint in your hands. Now it's time to build. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I absolutely cannot wait to see the confident speaker you become.
If you find value in this video, leave your comment below. Like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to keep updated on the next video. Keep learning.